Welcome to Soul-Led Creative Women, the podcast for heart-centered creative women who are ready to reclaim their spark and live with deeper meaning, authenticity, and soul. So today I have Nikki Allen with me. Nikki is the author of Loved You, Hated You, a bold and emotionally charged novel inspired by real-life heartbreak. What began as a song then evolved into a screenplay, became a gripping work of fiction that explores betrayal, identity loss, and the power of choosing yourself. Nikki writes with raw honesty and cinematic intensity. And today she's here to talk about the creative process, emotional healing, and the truths that fiction can reveal. So welcome, Nikki.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's just kick off with your story, Nikki. Tell us about your journey and what's led you here today talking to me about creativity and healing.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a singer-songwriter. That's my passion, my goal, my core, my everything.
Okay.
Um, and so many years ago, I found myself in an abusive relationship. And, I have always been this strong-willed person.
Mhm.
So to find myself in that kind of vulnerable situation where I really
Mhm.
couldn't get out, um it made me do what I call soul surgery to figure out, how do I heal myself? What is first and foremost, why am I still here? Why am I
Mhm.
accepting this? Um, and then once I got out, because I'm not one of those people that write through the pain, I can't do that. But after I got out,
Mhm.
um, I wrote the song Loved You, Hated You. And the lyrics are I loved you, I hated you, and now I'm releasing you because I'd
Mhm.
finally gotten through that process. Um, but I loved the song and so much that I started envisioning something more creative with it, which is how I came up with the screenplay for it, which
Okay.
we actually had a development deal that fell through when COVID hit.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so then I get a call from Balboa Publishing, and they're like, "Do you have a book to release that, we could
Mhm.
publish?" And I did not, but I was like, "I can turn that screenplay
Mhm.
into a
Mhm.
book." So that's how we got here.
So cool. I love that. That's so good. So as you talked about creative alchemy, how a song becomes a screenplay, becomes a book. So tell us about
Mhm.
your experience with, one creative idea morphing into another one.
If I'm honest, it's really not a morph for me. I think, like, when I write a song, I'm already visualizing the story. So
Okay.
it's just really just it's all in one to me. It's a 3 in 1. There's
Yeah.
no To me, it's not a separation, and I guess because initially when wanted to do film in film school, um, it was really to do music videos because songs are stories, and
Yes.
I visualize the story, so that's why I say it's all the same. I remember when I was in high school, I'm telling my age, but before when music videos were kind of fresh and I was like, "This is what I wanna do," I would have one friend come over, we'd put on headphones and listen to a song, and as the lyrics were going, I was describing what I saw visually.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's really just I see my kids get mad at me because 'cause we'll be driving somewhere and I'm like, "Ooh, look at that. That's a great location for this shot or that shot."
Mhm.
Everything is just a story for me, so
Mm.
yeah.
So do you think that, as you kind of went on a creative journey with it and it did turn into different things along the way, do you feel like that allowed you to go deeper into the story? Or do you think that they all kind of have a unique way of expressing the story? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it depth
Yeah,
or expression?
I think it's just more different expressions.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was a deeper meaning because the
Okay.
meaning is really the same. It's the same, but the expression is definitely different.
Yes. Okay. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, um, how has, the process of following your creativity really helped you to heal and become more empowered in your story then?
Um, for me, because I'm just this creative person, I live in story. I really do. I have to check myself, like, am I okay? But everything's a story for me. So, you know, here's an interesting thing. and I just discovered this today. I had a period in my life recently for a few years where I stopped listening to music.
Okay.
And it was just because I was so stressed. I had so much going on. I was getting frustrated with all the things that weren't happening. So I dropped music. My life literally went left when
Mm,
I did. I didn't clock it then, but
mm,
today, as I was really kind of thinking about that, I'm like, I really have to stay true to music because that is how I create. That is how I create exits for problems. It's just, I'm able to envision things, and music always helps. There is a part two to Loved You, Hated You, the book, the screenplay, and how I even came up with it. I wrote it in one night, listening to one song
mhm.
that had nothing to do with Loved You, Hated You, but the song just made me feel some kind of way
Okay.
where I was able to express that story. So I just live in that, and that
Mm,
is
mm.
that is how my creativity is really how I survive, how I
Sure.
live.
It's like
Yeah.
a creative spark almost, it sparks
Mhm.
something within you. So that's so
Yeah.
powerful, isn't it? So cool. And
It's so powerful.
yeah, and really that, knowing yourself piece, if you've turned music off and then that's had a ripple effect into your life. Likewise, when you turn music on, it has another
Mhm,
ripple effect into
mhm,
your life, right? Would you
mhm.
agree with that?
Exactly, and, it's so funny because I had gone to see a therapist, and she said to me, "What do you do now that the music isn't working?" And I was just
Mm,
like, "Oh, that's a good question," but unfortunately, she asked a very valid question, but she didn't understand how valid it was because she was looking at it, I think, through a lens of very therapeutic, of course, but just, "Okay, so you usually deal with everything through music and now that's not working. What are you gonna do?" Kinda like that,
mm,
instead of really understanding what music meant to me,
mhm.
because that was, what, 4 years ago, and I'm figuring it out. You
Mm,
know, why, but had she been more tapped into me and understood my journey musically or just sound or creativity, I think I probably would have come through this sooner.
yeah, because sometimes when you resist, the music or the creative outlet that that has really helped you in the past, when you
Mhm.
resist it, it's actually resistance, on a deeper, more personal level. There's something else that's kind of not right in your life, like you're finding it
Yeah.
difficult to face your truth or something like that.
Yes.
And that's why
Yes.
you turn the music off because it's going to open you up and keep you vulnerable,
Mhm.
and exploring it. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you talk about turning pain into creative power. Tell us about what you really mean by that.
Ah, mm. It was all people. Um, Pretty much I'll say with relationships because most of my songs are about bad relationships, and
Okay.
every song that I've written has a name on it. There's a guy's name attached to it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't write during the pain, I write after, and that's when it's like I've done all my exercises and I'm feeling strong, and then I can tell you about it. But I think at that point, at that juncture when I'm strong enough to tell you about it, I'm telling it from a place of power and
Mhm.
trying to empower, as
Mhm.
opposed to writing in the "woe is me." You know, and I think part of that is my ego. I don't want anybody to ever see that part of me,
Yeah.
when we get through this, and then I can tell you how bad it was and the woe is me. I wanna tell you about the woe is me, and I want you to experience it with me.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like that. So, so why do you think then, like the creative process and the music for you and the storytelling, why do you think that holds so much transformative power, and really elevates your life experience as you work through the pain after the fact?
I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay.
I think it's a spiritual situation. I really
Okay.
do that music for me and the whole creative process, it's all really just very spiritual because of
Yes.
the way it hits me, the way, I hear and I said this to someone, I said, I sometimes hear music and I just want to jump in that one note. Like that one note just does
Mm,
something to me. I can't
mm,
explain it. That's a very spiritual thing,
mm.
like, I know a lot of musicians, and they're good musicians, but they don't feel it that way. I really embody music, and it
Mhm.
really, whenever I write whatever, I'm gonna have my headphones on and let the music transform
Yeah.
whatever comes out.
Yeah. So on a spiritual level then, do you think that in some capacity, the music or the lyrics or the beat or the rhythm or whatever it is, do you think that's actually being channeled through you by, something bigger than you?
Oh,
Is that real for
yeah.
you? Yeah.
Oh, that is so real because I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. Um I always felt guilty writing songs. I'm more of a lyricist. I don't
Mhm.
really sit and come up with the music, but if
Yeah.
what usually happens, someone will send me some music, and I always feel guilty because when I hear it, I'm literally trying to keep up with my brain writing down the lyrics. I'm not sitting
Okay.
there like, well, this should be. I already hear it. I feel it.
Mhm.
I'm decoding it and just trying to write and hurry up pen, because it goes so fast. So I definitely think it's definitely a spiritual
Mm.
something coming in because I'm really not listening to them. Oh, we should write about this. It literally, the song sings to me and I just write it back. And I remember the first time that happened, I felt so like, you all don't hear that? Like it was so loud and obvious to me. The song was called So Unsure. And when the guy played it, I felt like, "This is out, right?" Like, somebody already did this. It was just so loud, you know?
Wow.
And then when I wrote it, it was just, oh, everybody said, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Yeah," 'cause it seems like it was out. Maybe it was out in another lifetime. I don't know. But it was just so obvious to me, and so that's really why I say the spiritual layer to it is I don't it's not me.
Yeah.
I'm channeling
Yeah.
somebody. I don't know.
So cool. I love it. So I also love how you talk about exploring real emotions through fiction. So
Mhm.
the first question is then, how much of your book or your screenplay is based on facts, and how much is based on fiction? What's the balance?
Um, the story itself is not my story. The feelings and the things that the character Gabby goes through is 100% of everything that I felt.
Hmm.
And I wanted to kind of deep dive into why people in domestic violence or the ones being abused stay.
Hmm.
We just had this whole thing here with Diddy and Cassie, yeah, the songwriter
Hmm.
mogul, Sean Diddy Combs. And he had this girlfriend, Cassie, that everybody's like, why did she stay? We saw the video of of him beating her and all this and
Hmm.
the horrible things he's done. And all we could hear was, well, why did she stay? She could have left. She did leave. Why did she go back? And so the book kind of shows, I hope, why. Actually, a professor told me I did the charm harm perfectly. So, but I want people to see how it's not that easy when they show you such an amazing side. That's the side you hold on to,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then you kinda excuse the bad,
Hmm.
and so that's kind of the story, and this guy that is abusing this beautiful woman, he's beautiful too, and
Yeah.
he's this dark side, so, I hope I'm setting it up,
Hmm.
as to why we stay, because there's another guy that enters this story that wants to save her, that wants to rescue her, but she's not leaving, and he's not understanding the why. So they actually have that conversation, which I hope opens some people's eyes as to the why.
Hmm.
But the flip side of that, the part that I love most is that it is a beautiful love story at the end of the day.
Hmm.
And I want people to know that, you can still find love and that love is real, but it doesn't necessarily look like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of almost, reframing or rewriting the narrative of your experiences so that you can almost express them in like a pure kind of exploring the depth and the realness and the rawness of the emotions you experience, but, conveying them to the reader, in a really profound way. But then on the flip side of that, also to kind of empower and uplift the experiences, so like rewriting the narrative so that you can then, really get into the emotional, truth behind it. So tell us
Mhm.
a bit about how you feel about that in terms of rewriting or exploring your emotions through another story, Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, first of all, I didn't wanna tell my story because mine was a lot worse. Because,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
guy came at me with a
So that's what I
gun.
kind of mean, like cutting the stuff out that doesn't need to be
Yeah.
there because you want to convey something specific, in terms of, like you said, like the beauty in both of the
Mhm,
characters rather than it
mhm.
just all being sort of negative and bad. Yeah. So,
Right,
so
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I just wanted, I wanted to, um if I would've told my story with this ending, I don't think the reader would believe it. Mm,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
even though it's very possible for that to happen because it did happen to me, but
Yes.
the average person would be like, "Are you serious? Like, there's just no way,"
Yes.
No, but I
Yes.
wanted to deliver it like, this is serious and it does happen, where enough where people can go, "Okay, I get it." That's what we want. We want people to go,
Yes.
"I
Yeah,
get
that's
it.
it. I get
I
it.
get it."
Yeah. Mm.
Because they wouldn't have got it with my story, like, "Girl, no."
It's too out there.
People out there. But with her, it was like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it." Yeah. So, that I had to flip it like that.
Yeah, okay, that's beautiful. And I guess then that's quite a cathartic process because you can kind of almost like get through the weeds, and the stuff that doesn't need to be
Mhm.
there in order for you to
Mhm.
really, explore the emotion and the truth and the beauty. So
Mhm.
that's so
Mhm.
powerful. I really love that.
And actually, I did cut one part out of the movie that's actually in the screenplay, and I was talking it over with my daughter because 'cause I'm like, in real life, I don't think people would accept any kind of redemption from this abusive character
Mhm,
because I want what I really also want to show is that he's human too, he's flawed,
mhm,
and to
mhm.
go deeper into his why, you know,
Yes,
um,
yes.
as opposed to if had it been so traumatic, they wouldn't have cared, the reader wouldn't have cared about his why, so I just
Yes.
wanted to, keep it because at the end of the day, the person that abused me, we're still, I'll say friends. We're
Mhm,
still cool to some trillion years later.
mhm.
So, and he is definitely not that same person he was back
Sure.
then.
Mhm.
So I always want to keep some sort of redemptive factor in the
Mm.
characters.
Yeah, that's so cool. And ultimately, he's on his own journey, right? So maybe
Yes.
the journey with you, as part of his story, was part of his wake up call or his evolution as a human. So, so powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
cool. So, for all the women who are curious about using creativity to heal and empower themselves, what powerful message or question would you like to leave them with today?
Do it. Hello. But if you get one person to buy your book or, get a wonderful podcast interview, then you're doing something. My goal is if I can just reach one person,
Yeah.
I think I did something well, right?
Mm,
And I've had a couple people that have read the book just like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Like
mm,
they fell in love, they were mad, they were cheering, they were ready to beat him up, like, it's all over, so, if it's something that, you feel you need to get out there, please do it, just do it, just
mm,
do it. It
mm.
was Nike said, "Just do it," so listen to them. Cool.
Yeah.
Just do it, I think, you know, what they say is, what the thing you want most is on the other side of fear, so
Mm.
get through the fear and do it.
That's so cool. I like that. So, So how can people get to know you better, Nikki, and get a real feel for the work that you're doing?
Yes, so they can reach me at officialnickyallen.com, NIKKIALLEN. And that has absolutely everything I'm doing. Or if they're just interested in the podcasts and the book itself, they can go to nikkiallen.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today, Nikki. Loved our
Thank you for having
conversation.
me.
Thank you.
Same, same.
Hey, Sam here. Thanks for listening to the end. If you love this episode, I would love to hear from you. Please send me a message on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Sam Horton Studio. For more episodes like this, please subscribe to my podcast, Soul-Led Creative Women, on your favourite platform. You'll find all the links at samhorton.co/podcast. The themes and tools explored in this episode feature in my new online program, Empowered Creative Soul. To find out more and join the waitlist for VIP perks when doors open, please visit samhorton.co. The direct link is in the show notes. Take care.